Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Plato's Cave Search and Rescue Team. Tonight we have an amazing guest. Santos bonacci has been doing syncretism for years now, and he's got a lot of experience in syncretism and other occult topics. We also have Aquarius Colorado on deck. Now, Santos, instead of repeating for everyone your history like you've done pretty much every episode, every show you've been on, I want to first start by letting you know what I've seen in your work recently. I think when someone comes to syncretism, the first thing they initially think of is someone compiling evidence. They take a piece of evidence here, piece of evidence there, and it's just compiling a case kind of for syncretism. But recently I've seen in your work, you've been more trying to distill the information and trying to make it more simplified and kind of boiling it down. Can you talk for a moment to the recent shift that I've seen in your work? Well, you can say it's always been, syncretism has always been boiling things down, but recently it's been getting very simplistic. Santos, would you say that'd be right?
Yeah. And that's partially due to our superior, better, more advanced consciousness that we are enjoying right now. All around the world, people who are prepared and who are inclined spiritually, they are being blessed with insights and understandings which they never had formerly, even weeks ago, months ago. So syncretism is coming to all. It will come to all eventually. Everyone will be blessed with syncretism. That is our nature, to sync things, not to divide and dilute. Division is not for diluting. Division is for variety and experience. But everything should be viewed as a whole, as a one, as a syncretic organism, as a syncretic wholeness. And so this is what Plato and Pythagoras and the Neoplatonists taught, that everything is a oneness, united, and then becomes divided. Whereas the Aristotelians taught that everything is divided first and then must be reconciled and united and harmonized and integrated. Whereas the former is the truth. The truth is that everything is one and syncretic, and it is intelligent to see the difference in everything, but it is also superiorly intelligent to see the unity in all things.
Now we are making great strides to this unified science, this holy science, in regards to Ken Wheeler's work, and his recent magnetic viewer has been showing us in real time what magnetism looks like, the structure. But we're going to get into that in just a moment. Before I get into that, I just want to start people off and get our syncretist muscles limber here. And we're going to try to break down this image. Now, learning things from you over the years, Santos, and learning about syncretism, you get to just paint a picture of your surroundings. Spiritually, I'm talking, not your physical surroundings, but your spiritual surroundings. So I want to go to this picture right here. Hold on one moment. Right. So as you understand syncretism, as you teach it, Santos, you come across pictures like this and you just get floored, because it's pretty much everything summed up into one. I'm going to shoot it off to you, Santos, in a moment here, but this right here, what it's depicting, I believe, is our path down to this realm of duality. We have the two, the red, the blue, the positive, and the negative, both touching the chalice. One could liken it to the cup in Scipio's dream that he drinks from to fall down to the world of matter. You can think of it as the womb, the Holy Grail, We have the circle below it. But to throw it off to you, Santos, what is to be said about the use of gold in this image? Do you think the artists were right on the money when they chose the gold coming down into the chalice?
Yeah, look, you can see the beautiful green leaves around the red rose. And that is, the green has 12 petals. The green chakra has 12 petals. And so it is Jesus and his 12 disciples and all of those 12 motifs. The gold light is the white light. It's always represented as white light. White and gold are always associated together when it comes to colors and light. And you can see that the rose represents the Empyrean, which is our true, everlasting, atemporal, unconditioned home. And that line of golden light, that is the that's the spirit pouring down into the cup. The cup is the body. The Holy Grail, the sang real, the holy blood, is your body's blood. And the cup of lethe that we drink from is the cup of remembering, or the cup of forgetfulness. And we forget our true nature, which is unity, consciousness from source, and we acquire a cup of a body of blood, an earthenware vessel, and you can see the two birds, one red and one blue. These represent the polarized forces of matter. Matter is red and blue. Adama means, in Hebrew, means red earth. It also means red man, Adam. It also means breath, the breath of life. So the breath of life comes into the cup, the body, and we have the two twins, the red and the blue, red blood, blue blood, red pill, blue pill, red shift, blue shift. Those birds represent nature. Holding on to the cup, the cup is standing on a round table, not a spherical table, which is the round earth which we live on. Yes, the earth is round. It's a circle. Definitely we live on a round earth. For all of these people who laugh at the flat earthers because they don't believe they're living on a round earth, well, they're actually telling people that they're living on a round earth. They're saying they're not living upside down on a spherical earth. But certainly it's a round earth. You see the Ouroboros there. The Ouroboros is dealing with the cycles of necessity. So our cup is, you'll notice the cup is in the middle of the circle. That's because that's the North Pole. That's where the golden light comes from. The sun is charged from Mount Meru in the North Pole, in the center of the earth, beyond the Arctic Circle. And the Ouroboros there probably depicts the South Pole, or the outer ring, which we call the South Pole. And it's showing how these earthen vessels, earth-based vessels, actually return to their spiritual rose. The rose is the symbol of fire, and the Empyrean, which is the 11th sphere, where we come from. Below the Empyrean, there are 10 spheres. And we can talk about that next. So the cup represents the 10 Sephiroth of Kabbalism, of the esoteric Jewish mysticism. And so that golden light pours in from the top of our heads in the fontanelle and pours into our torso, which is a Taurus torso, and imbues us with divine spirit. So it's up to us whether we...
That was great. And right before we move on here, I just noticed this just now with the Ken Wheeler stuff, this magnetism right here, this This looks like a toroidal field right in the middle. The wrong way, of course, it's horizontal, but here we have another um, blossom of magnetism, as we've seen from Ken Wheeler. And right as before we move on, just to show people the use of this kind of knowledge, I have a bunch of I really like old classic art, and I have a bunch of classic art books, and I flipped to a page one day, and on one of the pages it had this on it: the town plan of Mannheim, okay, 1652. And I just kept looking at this for weeks. I had this book open for weeks and I couldn't understand why this image was grabbing me so much. Any guesses on the panel before I reveal what it is? Well, I saw the cross right in the middle here, Santos, and I said, you know what? That looks just like a skull. So I had to put them on top of each other, and look at that. Even the cheekbones. But this is what tipped me off, Santos, is the cross right in the middle of the cross, so, right in the middle of the head. So as the white light comes down into the chalice, into our chalice, the gold or the white light can also rise, can it, Santos?
Yeah, the skull. I was going to say Golgotha, a dome. You can clearly see that it's a dome-like structure. They're trying to teach you that the dome is the dominus, the skull, Golgotha, Calvary, where the Christ is crucified on the cross in the center of the skull. This is where the chrism gets transmuted into the blood of the Christ, which is what purifies the body and leads to salvation. When we have our body chemistry balanced and we live in moderation and our body's nice and balanced in the pH, and all the fluids are running, we've got plenty of saliva flowing through the body. This all happens when we return all of the divine oils, the Christic oils in our bodies. We return them with interest back to the head heaven heaved up, whence they came from. So originally all fluids in the body come from the claustrum, the Santa claustrum, Santa Claus in the North Pole. And they go down the chimney, down the spinal column,
He's the one
all the way down through the pneumogastric nervous system, feed all the vital organs. Then those vital organs in turn return the oil once it's been differentiated and used, and then it gets returned and it climbs back up to be used to enlighten us, to reactivate all the dormant brain cells in the cerebrum. This process is a sacred process.
And anyone coming into this, and this may seem like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to you, just think of it like this: you have a right side of your brain and you have a left side of your brain. Okay, we mustn't let one side become more stronger than the other. So the aim should be is to travel right down the center of those two halves. Try to find a synergy from the left side of your brain to the right side of your brain. That's what I think you need to keep in mind when talking about this material, is a synergy between the two halves of our being, basically. But right before we go on, just one more image here for you, Santos. This will be the last one, I promise. And I just want to point out here how the negative blue is next to the ground. We have the positive red up top, and right in the middle we have the gold or white light. Image stands out to you, Santos?
Yeah, look, there's an angel helping man. The helpers of man who are tilling the soil are the angels, the archangels, and you can see a very heavenly sort of an image of the sun that the angel is pointing to. Essentially, this is redemption. Really, it's teaching how man is redeemed from this physical labor of cycles of necessity to feed himself with the sweat of his brow, and to toil with all the thistles and all the thorns that God put on the earth, so that man would live a troublesome and tiresome 90 years or whatever. And so this is truly a motif of redemption, salvation.
And it seems like the focal point is at the sun right now. We have to think, of course, who is making this image, but it seems to be, from the ground. And this this inscription, I believe, by the grace of God and the will of men, we can become virtuous, or something like that. But so, I just wanted to bring those out just to get our syncretism going. But Santos, I want to throw it back to you right after I do a little intro on Ken Wheeler. If you guys haven't been watching Ken Wheeler, go check him out. He's got a Theoria-Pathosis. What's the name of his channel?
Theoria-Apotheosis. Theoria-Apotheosis. I'll write it up here.
Now, this man recently has constructed a device that only uses LED lights, and you can basically use it to look at in 3D imaging of a magnetic field in real time, holographically, with virtually no moving parts. We're talking about a couple of batteries to power the LED lights, but basically now we can view it fully a magnetic field, which, I mean, it's mind-blowing when you go see it. But what he's showing us, and particularly with the ring magnet, I've found, Santos, is that when he puts the ring magnet up to the viewer, it looks very much like the flower of life, Santos. Very sacred geometry looking patterns in there. And that is magnetism. We are looking at magnetism with what Ken Wheeler is showing us, people. So Santos, how important, how amazing is this that we can actually now see magnetism, which was before hidden to us for all time?
Yeah, brother. It's a good point. You mentioned the flower of life, and Ken Wheeler's YouTube channel. I strongly recommend all viewers go and spend a lot of time in Theoria-Apotheosis. I've learned so much from Ken Wheeler, and I'm just so thankful to have him. But you mentioned the flower of life. The flower of life is 19 circles. 19, 13, all of these numbers. What happens is if you get a circle like this and you surround it with 6 circles, you get this. So you get 7. Okay, this is the 7 in creation. This is why 7 is so powerful, because it's one circle surrounded by exactly the same sized circles, and all circles are touching one another. But if you go another round, you'll have to go around again with 12 circles.
Now, as people are watching this, remember when a human is being grown in the womb, the cells act very much like this, right, Santos?
Yeah, well, cells reproduce by doubling, so that's mitosis, and this is more of the phi.
Oh, right.
Phi ratio, which is 1.618. They also call this the Fibonacci ratio, or the golden section, the golden mean, the golden square, the golden ratio. This is the golden ratio, whereas pi pi is 3.141, yeah?
Right.
Okay, so this is 5, the golden section. These are both transcendental numbers. And the doubling of mitosis, doubling and golden section are essentially the two modes of expression of creation. So when you get a central circle like this, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you've got to go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's correct. So that's your 19. That's your 7 and 12. Okay, so there are 7 physical energies in the universe, which are the 7 planets, the 7 days of the week, the 7 colors of the rainbow. Who's that?
Let's see. Well, could it be Krishna?
Well, that's you see the 7 bells?
Mm-hmm.
This is the sun, Snow White, and the 7 dwarves. The 7 dwarves are the 7 colors of the rainbow. The rainbow, or those 7 colors, are the assistants of the sun. The sun is white or golden light. Okay? So the sun is golden or snow white. And these are the 7 little helpers, and they are bells. Bell comes from the hyperboloid. We're going to study that in a minute. So every torus field, which is based on this, every torus field is also a hyperboloid. And that bell in boloid, that's where we get bells from. Bells come from this. And so what we have, I'll just grab another one. So what we have, these bells are very special. They're made of 7 metals. You see there? You've got the sun gold, the moon silver, Saturn lead, Jupiter tin, Mars iron, Venus copper, and Mercury quicksilver. And that's the 7 elements that are in these bells, which correspond to the 7 bells, or the 7 colors of Baal, the bell god.
Now, it's interesting you brought up the shape of the bell, Santos, because when we look at the ring magnet, when Ken Wheeler shows us the ring magnet, the magnetic waves coming off it, or the magnetic structures coming off it, look very much like a bell, like a blossoming flower almost.
Yeah, brother. I've showed this quite a few times in my new series of presentations for 2017. But what you have is all magnets do this. All magnets have what they call a block wall.
Yep. Would that be the plane of inertia as well?
Yes, it is, because this is incorrect. This word block wall, this is incorrect. Scientists call this the block wall. This is the plane of inertia. Okay, and then what happens is, from this block wall, this plane of inertia, you have divergent centrifugal magnetic lines of force going outward like this and coming back around like that, and also going in this direction. And so what you've got is here going outward. You've got divergent centrifugal lines, and they reach their maximum here, and then the outer extremity here, and then they begin to become convergent, centripetal. So these lines now are going back into here. They go into the plane of inertia and then go out the other side. And they're doing this all the time. Only in 3 dimensions. So, as Ken Wheeler teaches and shows, we humans, we draw lines like this. Point lines, we go like this. But nature does not know how to do that. Nature always draws point lines like this, like that, from a point. But not only does it do that, all lines are curved linear. So all lines go like this. Okay?
Much like the yin yang.
Exactly. Only it's not just doing it like this. It's also putting dimension into it. The 3rd dimension, depth. So if we bring it back to here on the one level and we wind it up again, now we unwind it. We don't unwind like this. Hang on a minute. I've got to do this in respect to the camera. We don't unwind like this in one dimension. We unwind like this. So we've got this depth now. And so what we have, all lines are curved linear. And so this is a 3-dimensional torus. But it's also a hyperboloid. So in the middle here, you can see the hourglass. That is the bull. Okay? And this out here is the torus. The torus and the bull, creating turbulence. Turbulence.
And all the energy is going both down and up and in and out at the same time. If you look at the 3D imaging, this is why Ken Wheeler's invention is so amazing, because we need that 3D to see both the split of the line and the curve of the line, the curve through dimensions. So we now have 3D of this, and it looks a bit like a basket, right, Santos? It's kind of a weaving basket in and out, these energies up and down, in and out at the same time.
Yeah, true. What you have is the hypertrochoid in 2 dimensions, but in 3 dimensions, it's called the reciprocating processional hyperboloid torus. So it's very important not just to call this a torus, because you have to look at the negative image of the torus, which is the hyperboloid. And the hyperboloid is the negative image of the torus. So in both instances, you have the bull, the animal of the bull. The torus and the bull. These are the golden calves of Aaron and Moses. This is the cows of Krishna. All the universe is made with these cows, these donuts, these atums, or these torus fields. You see, your body is a torso with the heart in the middle. That's the inertial plane. You see, doctors say that the heart pumps blood. That's because they don't understand magnetism. Magnetism, what's happening is the blood is going into that inertial point in the heart. and then it's being spun around. It's being spun around like a vortex, and then it gets pushed out, and then it gets divergently. It gets drawn into the body through the arterial. So you've got your veins and your arterial system. Okay, so what's going on is that contemporaneously the heart is drawing the blood in that is not oxygenated into its vortex. It's just getting sucked into that point in the heart, and at the same time,
it's actually
and at the same time, the magnetism is actually circulating. I'm looking for the right words here. It's very important to be technically correct as possible. The magnetism surrounding the body, the torso energy surrounding your body, is actually circulating the blood at the same time, because it's being drawn out magnetically. All is magnetism. All is this. Atoms work like this. Galaxies, our universe looks like this. It has to, because there's no other form. When people go off on tangents and theories and everything like that, they just lose their way. It's simple. It's really simple. The universe can only work like this. And so what you've got...
No, I'm sorry. Go on, Santos.
So what you've got is, this is also your torso, which comes from a uterus. Uterus. How do you spell uterus? I'm sure that's wrong, but it doesn't matter. Uterus. Okay, so if you look at the pictures of the uterus, you will see that it looks like a ram or a bull. Okay, so that's why words like this, Taurus, bull. So this is a terrible, turbulent, bull. So all words that come from energy come back to the Taurus field. Tornado, torsion, torque, sound. Even this, which in our solar system would be the plane of the Earth, the flat disk plane of the Earth. It's right in the middle of the universe. Our Earth is in the middle of the universe. Everything is geocentric. The astrologers had it right thousands of years ago when they said that astrology works on a geocentric system. It's not heliocentric at all. Heliocentrism never even was considered amongst the ennobled, enlightened ones, the Neoplatonics, for instance. They were all astrologers, they were all vegetarian, and they were all flat earthers. That's one thing I can say 100% truthfully about the Neoplatonists. They all taught this. Iamblichus, Porphyry, they were all vegetarian, all flat earthers, all understood astrology and magnetism. And so what you've got is Taurus, torso, uterus. The plane of inertia becomes the planet of Earth. There it is. EA, Earth. That's just an anagram for inertia. Okay, so why do you need that? Well, you need inertia or Earth because everything is made of ether. So from ether to earther, if you have a look at your Kabbalistic, when you do a Kabbalistic tree, you have Kether at the top, Chokmah, Binah, Tifereth, and what you've got now is you've got a way to understand our solar system as well. So this is Malkuth, or Earth, and this is Kether, or ether. So if you have a look at your hands, you've got the 5 elements are here: ether, fire, air, water, earth. So when you do this mudra, you are earthing. When you do this mudra, you are getting emotional stability. When you do this mudra, you are getting mental clarity. Here, you're getting energy, fire. When you do them all together, you're balancing all your elements. Okay? But if you want just, say, emotions and mind, you connect them to the thumb, the ether, because that's where we're heading. So when you get these 5 elements and you put them on the Kabbalistic tree, you've got 10 Sephiroth, 10 fingers, okay? You can see ether down to earther. So in order to go up the Jacob's ladder, which is the spinal column, you need to go up. This is in Revelation, this is the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. These are your 7 levels of your chakras. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these are the 10 horns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so what you have here is this is the red bottom chakra. Okay? And up here you have your violet. The crown chakra. Okay? So what you've got is earth. That's the moon plane. This chakra, the solar plexus, has 2 horns. The solar plexus is Mercury and Venus. Mercury and Venus. The Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Now, so what you have to do, the point is to get from earther to ether. So this is why in electricity, you earth things. So when Thor, Jupiter, Zeus, Thor, everything goes back to the Taurus field, guys. When Thor sends some thunderbolts down to the earth, you see Thor in his Thunderdome is sending charge to the earth via electricity through Birkeland currents that travel through the ether and charge the plane of inertia. This is getting charged, okay? And it discharges its energy like this. And so this is the Yggdrasil tree in the middle of the garden, the Torii, the tree of truth, Toruth. You see? And so what you're getting is this Taur bull, this Taurus bull, is creating the turbulence, the terrible turbulence that we need. And so all the words in energy come from this. The dumbbell. This is the dumbbell. Well, that's bell. We've already learned bell. Bell comes from the dumbbell. You see the bowl? The word bowl. That's come from bull, because it's the bowl shape, the bell shape inside the hyperboloid that creates the sound that it's making. This is a dumbbell. It's an atom. It's a universe. It's an atom. You know, it's a self-complete system. This is what scientists refer to as an atom. They will say consists of a proton, a neutron, and an electron. Well, that's it. That's the neutron, the plane of inertia. This is the proton going out, and this is the electron going back in. So it's two different modalities. It's just the neutron is the proton, is the electron, is the neutron, is the proton. Why? As Walter Russell explains, that it depends whether it's compressing or rarefying, whether you're going to call it a proton or a neutron or an electron. If it's compressing, right, it's an electron. If it's expanding, it's a proton, but they are one and the same. Depends on what modality you are,
one could say it's the state that it's in, much like in your life. What state are you at in your life? We're all doing this alchemy every day. When is it all right to mix certain things? When is it good to separate things in your life? There's going to be a point where, you're seeing a girl for a while. Now you got to go over to her house, have dinner with her family, and bring your family and their family together. We're always, what is the right time to join and separate? And this is it right here, alchemy right here in incarnate with the toroidal field. Now, the toroidal field, it looks like there's kind of a whirlpool at the top and kind of a whirlpool at the bottom. Santos, what would you say about the possibility of that whirlpool being where these planets seem to be gathered above us?
Well, the Earth's torus field is the most outstanding of the local torus fields universally. I mean, everything is captured inside of this. Everything, even the sun. So the sun. So here's the Earth here, of course.
I mean, that looks like a heart right there with the four chambers right off the bat. That's a heart right on your board right there.
Exactly, it is. It is. It's everything. This is all things. This is the only form that exists. People who go studying quantum physics and particle physics and mechanics, they will forever be learning, never coming to an accurate knowledge of truth. This is the only way to know accurately all truth. So what we have above the plane of the Earth is 7 planets: Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And then this extremity out here, this is what we call the firmament. Firmament. This here is terra firma. Terra is Taurus. Okay? Everything comes from the Taur and the Bull. The Taur and the Bull. The Taurus and the Bull. So below us, we are told in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, and many other Vedic books, Bhagavad Gita, and I think the Rig Veda, teach us that there are 7 subterranean planets. And that's what they call in Hebrew Sheol. I think it's actually Sheol like that. No, that's better. Sheol. In Greek, they call it Hades, Hades. We say Hades, they say Hades, Hades.
And we have Dante's story about the levels, descending into the levels as well.
Yes. Red shift, blue shift. Blue shift at the North Pole at Mount Meru. Red shift at the South Pole. This is Antarctica here, and it goes right around the Earth. It's
Perfect.
a circle.
Perfect. So would you say that the outer edge of that circle is negative and the inner magnet is positive?
Yes, blue shift. See, the sun.
See, that's where I was going, Santos, because the sun traverses pretty much, I would say, in the middle of the negative outside and the positive inside. We have the path of the sun seems to be right dead center, Santos, right?
Yes, it does, brother. The Tropic of Cancer. This is the sun here in the middle. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn at the top. Venus, Mercury, Moon below. The sun at the Tropic of Cancer is high and does a big circle. At the Tropic of Capricorn, the sun is low. Closer to the Earth, much closer to the Earth. And it's doing a bigger circle. So it actually does a vortex like this. The sun's going from Capricorn to Cancer, up, down. 6 months, 6 months. Here is the equinox. The equator is in the middle. 23.5 degrees from here to here. 23.5 degrees from here to here. This is the tilt, the so-called tilt of the Earth. There's no tilt. The tilt is the sun in its vortex, in its TP-shaped vortex. It goes up to the Tropic of Cancer. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. It says the sun is on a ramp. The sun has been led by a horse. Well, of course, a horse is one of these, like a Taurus. These are cows, these are horses, these are tortoises, these are all the animals. Okay, so it says the sun is being led around a horse around the perimeter of Bhumandala, Jambudweep, and he's going up and down a ramp yearly. Summer, winter, spring, summer, autumn, winter. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Compression, rarefaction. Compression, blue shift. So this is really the North Pole is really the south magnetic pole. So Ken Wheeler's discovered that the south pole of magnets is blue shift, and it's very healing. Good for seeds, good for plants, good for growing stuff. Okay, so you point the south pole of your magnets to your body, to seeds, to get healthy. So red shift, on the other hand, is where the red, if this were your torso, you would have your heart chakra would be green in the middle. This would be your orange chakra. This would be yellow chakra. This is your blue, purple, indigo, violet. Blue shift is up the top. Red shift is happening down below. Now, see, the Latins call Sheol, Hebrew, and Hades, Greek, infer. Infer is infernal. Hell. And these 7 planets, this is where your aliens, your reptilians, your draconians, all of these alien types are coming through here. They come through the North Pole and they come out to our plane. And what they do is they teach humans technology which is harmful to humans, because they know how to use the square wave instead of the longitudinal DC wave. They love the AC wave because it's a square wave. It's very harmful for human beings. And they are the ones who are giving us this technology in exchange for enslaving mankind virtually and vampiring all of their energy. And so they are the vampires, they are the parasites. They come from not above, they come from below, from infernal, from Sheol. Have you noticed this word Sheol has also got hell in it, H-E-L, but you'll see companies like Shell, Shell, and they even have the form of the torus field, the true energy, And what do they sell you? They sell you petrol, which we don't need. We've got free energy, right? So they have imposed this this system of paying for energy, which is free, and if you don't pay, you get to go to jail, and you get thugs called policemen come around and put you back in line and pay for your utilities and all of this energy that God gave us freely. So this is going to destroy the globalists, because the globalists depend on their Humpty Dumpty globe. They've told us that we live in a Santa Claus reality, and we're upside down spinning. And they're laughing at the flat earthers that are going to fall off the edge of the earth, and upside down laughing at us. Oh, I'm upside down laughing at the vertical types living on a horizontal vertical plane as God made it, and let's laugh at them because they're going to fall off the edge. Well, I've never heard of anyone falling off, and I find it very funny that you think that you're upside down, Mr. Globe person.
Santos, we were laughing at the globe at 5-6 years old privately, and we didn't have the guts to tell everyone that we don't think this is right. That's why they get us at such an early age. They want to get in the door before they want to corrupt your mind. That's the first thing they want to do. But for people watching on the toroidal field that Santos has on the board behind him, this is just basically an upward view, bird's eye view, if you will, of what he's shown here. Now, the positive center and the negative outside. Santos, we have the sun making its journey pretty much smack dab in the middle of these two things. Now, I'm just speculating here, and my mind has been running wild since Ken Wheeler's stuff. But could you say that the sun is kind of a discharge point for the negative outside and the positive inside? It could be perhaps where these things cross over, the crossover point. What do you have to say about that, Santos?
Yeah, look, the sun is a projection, just like the rainbow. You can't go and grab the rainbow and pick it up and stick it in your pocket. It's not physical. And the same with the sun. It's projected to where we see it. And then, of course, on top of that, you've got to add a refraction, atmospheric lensing, perspective, all the laws of perspective. So when you're looking at the sun, you're not actually looking at something that is actually there, just like the rainbow. You can have a guy 20 meters away and you can say, oh, look at the rainbow, it's beautiful. And he can't see it 20 meters away because it's not there from his perspective. And so when it comes to the sun, it's no use trying to, find all of the physical facts about the sun with a calculator and a notepad and a pen and telescopes and all sorts of material things, because
it's a phantom.
Well, it's like a shadow is not. It doesn't have any properties really. It's the shadow.
Can we call it an effect?
Yeah, right. And the same is with the rainbow. So if we can start to understand this, we will understand how light works. We're not in the realm because of our bodies are trapped in, our senses are trapped in bodies. Our perspective will always be limited. Hence, we have to go back to the true models that we've been given. This is a true model. This is not fantasy. Copernicus, that's fantasy because he said it. He said, this spinning Humpty Dumpty globe that I'm talking about, it's not to be taken true. That's the first thing he said in his preface of his book. He says, this is not absolute truth. This is a hypothesis. And Galileo, Galilei, all of these guys, Newton even said that gravity was a hypothesis. It's still a theory. It's never been upgraded to fact because it can't be, because it just doesn't have any existence. You cannot reify it because it has no attributes and it's not a principle. Whereas this is a principle. This is based in first order. From this,
people understand that Newton said that basically his life's work is trash because I could not separate my variables. Here I am doing experiments on the earth when here gravity is obviously a factor. He cannot get he cannot get away from gravity to do his experiments. Therefore his life's work is garbage, and he admitted this. He could not isolate his variables. So guys, just keep that in mind going forward. You know, we're not saying physics is a bad thing. We're saying that the building blocks we have been given are chipped, and they are very badly damaged. Santos, to you.
Yeah, I agree, brother. And I would say to people, I would say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because all of that stuff, even Newton, Copernicus, Einstein, all of their stuff, even though it's only half truth, can be redeemable. It's not totally rubbish. It can be redeemable. It's easy to fix all of the problems of science today. It's so easy. All you need to do is simplify it like this. And I would suggest, if you really want to iron out all of the problems and the mistakes of quantum physics and relativity and all of those hocus pocus pseudoscience things, they are actually based, hard to believe this, but they are actually based on true science. It's just that what they do is they corrupt it enough and give it enough materialist spin to point you in the wrong direction. Okay, so it's easy to correct. I wouldn't be hasty in saying, you know, just burn all those physics books and turn your backs on them. These guys are scientists, so I guess they need a pat on the back. But it's just like churchgoers. They need a pat on the back for being loyal and good enough to want to go to church and want to be good people, but they're not actually getting to the nuts and bolts of it because they're being distracted by false, lying pseudoscientists, really. The churches are full of it. The institutions are full of it. They're all lying. Why? Because they're trying to point people to the fact that we need to burn energy. We need electricity, not magnetism, which is free. We want electricity, which creates a vibration, which we can pay for and meter it. You see, Tesla tried to give us free energy. JP Morgan came along and said, no, I want to put a meter on that. Piss off, right? And then ever since that, there's meters everywhere, electrical meters, the electrical grid. And we don't need it because
not just that. Not to mention that the Tesla's gang was the last time we ever heard ether in scientific work. I mean, Tesla's gang was it as far as ether goes. I think that is how they've shrouded this knowledge from us. Because really, if you just take away the ether, that's all you need to take away. All of a sudden, everything's useless. So remember, when you're talking Tesla, you're talking ether as well. Aquarius, any thoughts on what we've been talking about? I'm sorry I didn't get over to you at all, man.
I'm just looking at that image that Santos drew, and to me, it looks like the apple that Eve gave Adam of knowledge of good and evil, which everything is all hidden in plain sight. And I agree with what Santos is saying. They will pervert or twist it so you look only through one view, the view that they want, which is a materialistic view, one without connection to self and to God and to creation. And that's why they removed ether from science.
Yeah, didn't they make, actually, in the Seven Dwarfs movie, didn't the witch have the poison apple? The apple was poison and not life-giving in that movie? See how they switched it around on us? Santos, back to you.
Yeah, well, see, Eve eats the apple and gets all sorts of trouble. Sleeping Beauty eats the apple. So you see the motif is always that when you eat the apple, which are the apples of Apollo, which is the sun, the apples of Apollo. See, another word for bull is apis, A-P-I-S. That's the root of apple. These are the bulls or the apples of creation. The eggs, the pine cones, doesn't matter. Tortoises, birds. These forms are similar to all the animals, but the bull is the first word that comes out of it. See, bull. Why? Because all nature comes from bull. You look at some of the plants that have bulbs. Okay, what's a bulb? A bulb. Well, it looks like this, doesn't it? And then a shoot comes out of here. Right? Does that look like a torus field? Comes from a bulb. Yeah, a blossom. Bull. Blossoming. See, this is like an orgasm. You see that the shoots come out, right? So that's what the torus is doing. The torus is making. So the bulls, the apples of Apollo. This is the heart. So when you said it looks like an apple, it does. Here's the leaf coming out of the apple here, and you've got, what's this called? The apple core. Well, that's your cur.
Mm-hmm.
And your torus, see the letter T, the cross that you must bear, that's your torus. Here is the inertial plane, Earth. Earth. Take off the H here and put it right there.
Mm.
And you've got a heart.
And don't forget, folks, the first thing that is built in your body is, well, first spinal cord fluid, but that spinal cord fluid first starts to make the heart. So one could argue that we come into this world through our heart. Our heart is the centerpiece. Just like you said, Santos, the line is made from the center going out. Just like our body is made from the center first and sprouts out like the seed, like our heart is the seed. Santos, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. That's perfect. And so what is coming out of your blood, heart, your cur, is all the life force in the blood. The soul is in the blood. And so what you're getting is you're getting the plane of inertia, which is the earth heart, is where all the source of your power is coming from. That's when your heart is happy and relaxed and you're breathing correctly, you're actually strengthening and growing your torus field. It expands and grows and gets healthier and healthier as you breathe correctly, and you expand your, what do you call this part of the torso? You call it your thorax. Your thorax. So when you expand your torus, thorax, you are actually expanding the field of influence that your psyche has. So you can be walking through a crowd, and you will actually your psychic field will merge with their psychic field, and when there is a compatible energy, that person will respond. And you know, they may even just look around and think, well, who's that? There's someone's here. I know that person. And they'll be looking around. It's like when you're walking down the street through a crowd, and certain ones will look at you. Not everyone. Some are too busy, and some do not connect with your energy at all whatsoever. Whereas others do, and you'll see a man over there and a woman over there, and they'll look up and they'll just look at you and and out of the blue, and you'll think, well, what did I do? I didn't do anything. But it's just that there is a that individual's expanded torus field is connecting with yours. Now, we have many torus fields though, okay? The main one is the torso, that's the torus. But then you have your mind's, your cerebrum's torus field, you have your liver, your endocrine system, your spleen. So there are many toruses embedded inside, you see. So what's happening is when you connect with someone who has similar torus energy, magnetic energy, then the entangled particles, because see, again, scientists talk about entangled particles, but there aren't any particles. So what you have to do now is you have to change those words to more scientific, true descriptions and explanations. For instance, I would not use particle, I would use pulse. It's a pulse wave universe. It's not a particle wave universe at all, whatsoever. There aren't any particles. And so this is why entangled particles actually do exist. They're not particles, they're pulses, but they all exist on the longitudinal plane. The longitudinal wave, the standing wave, is direct energy. There's no wave, so there's no vibration, there's no interference. It's perfect energy, it's pure. It's magnetism. Electrical energy does this. So there's a time dilation, there's phase disparity in the energy. So you get blue shift, red shift. Nothing is correct. Nothing is perfect in the red-blue world of materialism, but it's perfect because it works. So whatever is coming out here is also coming out here. And whatever is coming out here and here is also going in here and here at the same time.
Perfect synergy.
Perfect field pressure mediation. Perfect interlacing of energy that is, well, there's all different kinds of energy. There's high capacitance, there's low capacitance. There's high frequency, there's low frequency. There's long wave, there's short wave. Well, the length of the wave actually is in proportion to the capacitance of the light, because this blue light is far higher capacitance than the red light. So if you look at the petals on your chakra, this is the best way to understand light. The bottom chakra of the torso is the red chakra. It has 4 petals. So there's that 4. You see, that word dealing with death, your body.
I wanted to ask you about that, Santos, because Neil deGrasse Tyson was just on a radio show and he was basically berating people for being skittish about the number 13. He was basically making fun of people and saying the 13 has no whatever. But if you go back to Japan, I think I saw a talk you gave a long time ago about a city in Japan that is supposed to be named for, but they didn't name it for. Go ahead, Santos, with the city in Japan named for.
Yeah. Okay. So in Japan, in the northern part of Hokkaido, there are 10 towns. I know very, very familiar because I've been there. I've been to Hachinohe. Hachi means 8. No. Hachinohe. That means the town of the number 8. Okay? Now, they did not have Shinohe. Shi is 4, and it also means death. So in that area, you've got Ichinohe, Ninohe, Sannohe, Gonohe, Rokunohe, Hachinohe, but you don't have any Shi. They don't have 4 in that town because it means death. So here is the baptism of death, the earth chakra, Malkuth, earth. Remember, we looked at the Kabbalistic tree. This is Malkuth, the number 4. But see, blue has 16 petals, so that's 4 times 4. So this has more capacitance. This light is high capacitance light. You get a blue laser, You can do a lot of damage with a blue laser as opposed to red. It's softer. It's only has the power of 4. Okay, so Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is an upside down spinning globetard, the reason he was laughing was because 1 and 3 equals 4.
Aha.
And so 13 has 4 implied in it twice, essentially, because it reduces to 4, and because it's the second number in the series of numbers that reduce down to 4, it gets to be extra powerful. And so 13 again is not necessarily associated with the 13th cardinal or ordinal aspect of numbers, but it has to do with this number 4 and the baptism of earth that we've all been subjected to. This is why we then get baptized with water. This is water. And then we get baptized. This one's fire. This, the third chakra, the solar plexus, is fire. Then we have a baptism of fire. Then we get baptized in the heart at the Jordan River. And then we go to the blue skies, blue shift. Right? Because when you look up you're standing on a green earth, you look up, you see a blue sky. Well, green chakra, blue chakra, and then the blue chakra opens up to the purple of the lamb, the cerebrum of the head, and the cerebellum of Taurus. Aries, Taurus. Cerebrum, ram, cerebrum, cerebram, cerebellum, cerebellum. So you've got the 2 horned animals in here, violet and indigo and blue. This is all blue shift. Everything up here in the head, heaven heaved up, in the skull of Golgotha, the dome, all of this represents the dome above our heads. And the earth, our heart, and this is the same model as our body. This is God. When you look up at Jupiter, Saturn, and all, you're looking at God. You're looking at his organs. You can't see the full body because your eyes do not permit you to, but you're seeing the light at the center of those organs. When you look at the sun, you're looking at the heart of God.
Well, I'd say in the grand scheme of things, Santos, I'd say we're at a good point right now. We're right in the center. I say as long as we use our heart and we use our throat, we use our voice to speak out, to expose things, I think we're on our way up. We're here we are. Our feet are on the ground here and our heads are in the skies. That seems like a choice we've been given, Santos. Would you say we're in a good place and a good opportunity right now to to be on our way up right now?
Yeah, for sure. This is the best time to be alive ever. Look what we're doing. Could we do this 5 years ago? I couldn't. I couldn't do this 5 years ago. So we're having these conversations. There's information on the internet. People are starting to wake up. People are starting to wake up to the beautiful divine nature of creation. This is all by design. This is all created by an intelligent creator, Jehovah, Krishna, Allah, Jagannath.
And what a glorious thing people like us with so many blinders on, with so much distorted information, with so much filth on the TV, what a blessing that a few of us are on to understanding the holy science. Aquarius, what do you got to say?
I think it's a beautiful time to be alive. I mean, it's the age of Aquarius. Why wouldn't, I mean, I'm biased. I kind of want to talk about, if we can, it's all connected, but the sun and the moon real quick. I want to get Santos' take, because we were talking earlier, Tony, about whether the sun is male or female energy, and you said that the sun was female energy, and I said no, the moon was female energy. And I just wanted to know what Santos's...
Sun was male, the moon is female to me. That's my thing.
Well, we were talking about positive and negative energy and aspects of like negative was male and positive energy was female. Excuse me, you're right. Just put it,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So basically, is positive energy male by nature and female is negative, or is it the other way around? What is your take on positive and negative energy and how it relates to male and female?
Look, in principle, we tend to say that negative is feminine, positive is masculine. Okay, because of the outward nature, outward directed nature of man, whereas the woman is like the receptacle and she is receiving, and so therefore negative is coming inward, positive is going outward. You can look at it like that. It depends on the modality. There's no hard and fast rules. What is one is the other. Okay. Horus is Set and Set is Horus. Satan is Jesus and Jesus is Satan. I know the churchgoers are going to put their nappies, and they'll have to go and change their nappies after they hear that, because they just don't understand the deep things. They are on the milk of the Christ.
They can just go read this book. They can just go read this book. You know,
Devil's Pulpit. Yeah, me and Aquarius do this all the time. We like pick one number and we talk about that number for like an hour, and we'll talk about one thing, a negative aspect or whatever, and we always realize that everything is everything. Like every number is the same thing. 1 turns into 2, turns into 3, turns back to 1 again. It's all the same thing. It's so funny because we always argue on what means what, and then we both realize that it's both the same thing all the time, always.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, here is the book. Yes, this is a great book. The reason why this is such a good book, Aquarius, is because in here it teaches. Now, this guy was into astrotheology in the early 1800s, Robert, the Reverend Robert Taylor, a contemporary of the other Taylor, who was translating all of Plato's works and everything like that. So the two Taylors. This guy was in Birmingham, I believe, in the Black Country, and he went to jail twice for teaching the astrotheology that I'm teaching 200 years ago. And we haven't really gone far, because the Jesuits are determined to give people a literal, historical, factual Jesus who never came and never will return, hiding the eternal, atemporal, true Jesus in the heavens. So what we're going to do then is we're going to show how, if you want to make the sun a goddess rather than a god and call it, Radharani instead of Krishna, like I have done. See, I've given a feminine principle to the sun. I'll tell you why. And you can change this around. It doesn't matter. But this is, in my opinion, this is the deepest of archetypes. This is the deepest of modalities, and so this is the truest of truth. And anything else is still true, because you've got to remember, everything has 3 bodies: spirit, mind, and body, or spirit, soul, body. Okay, everything is like this. You are like this, the plants are like that, animals, the sun, the moon. There is nothing that is not a threefold creature. So to say that the sun is masculine or feminine, you need to be able to know your stuff and how to explain all this. So this is how you would do it. First of all, there are only three things going on. Dielectricity, which is black light. You see those reciprocating black lines that are reciprocating with white lines in the hypertrochoid thingy. So you've got the magnet, and you've got white lines going out everywhere, right? And then you've got black lines. I should have used the black for black, but anyway. And then you've got black lines centripetal. That's dielectricity. So when you do your yin and yang, So when you do this, see that letter S in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
That's the 19th letter. Remember the 19 from the flower of life? 1 plus 9 equals 1. This is the serpent in the middle of the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. Adam is odd numbers. Eve is even numbers. So you've got 1 odd, 2 Eve even. So what you've got now is below the dielectric is magnetism. And when these two field modalities rub against each other, electrification is produced, a third modality. And this is the moon. This is the sun. Might as well put 7 rays there. Samson had 7 braids of hair.
Mm-hmm.
Samson had 7 braids of hair, eh? Braid. I think that's how you spell braid. Is that right? Braids of hair. Can you check that, please?
I think so.
I'll just check the spelling on that. Yep, that's a braid. Okay, Samson is the sun. Samson comes from Shem. Shema is the sun. Samson means little sun. All right, that's why it's got sun in it. For instance, Jason means Jehovah's son. Simon means the son of the sun. Samson means the son of the sun, or a little son. Okay, now see the word ray there?
Mm-hmm.
R-A-I. The seven rayed sun. Here I put Saturn. Electricity, L. He is L because the letter Lamed goes like this. The Hebrew letter for L, but the glyph of Saturn is like this. That's Saturn.
Yep.
And then Lamed, the 12th letter, the letter L, because each circle gets to go in 12 sections, just like a clock. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So all these sections make a clock. Okay?
Now, it's funny you say a clock because Ken Wheeler says that 4 represents time to him. He hasn't given his full explanation, but he says there's a very drawn out explanation why he sees the number 4 as representing time. So that's funny you say clock and you just divided the thing up into 4. Looking at 4, it looks like the solstices and the equinoxes, Santos.
Well, time is Timmy, Tommy, atom. All of this is atom. All is atom. Magnetism, everything is atom. Ken Wheeler says magnetism produces magnitude and time and space. That's where time comes from. That expansive, centrifugal, divergent white light. The sun is doing that. That's why I put the sun as magnetic. Okay? Now, so time again is like, well, Nikola Tesla says time and space have no properties. So space comes from magnetism and time. So the space, The temporospatial world is due to Saturn. Time, chronos. Chronos means time. Chronos, Saturn, Satan, time. You look at all our words. What do we call the future day? What do we call the future day? A day in the future.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow. Tom. See, in Italian, that's domani. Dom. Domani.
Very percussive. Very like the percussion section. Keeping time. Percussive.
Because in your heart, that's what time is doing. It's, you listen to your heart. What do you hear? Tom tom. Tom tom. The drummers tom toms. Dom dom. Domani. Tomorrow. Time. Time is tom toms. Timmy. Tom tom. Tomorrow. So you can't go backwards in time. Time is only in tomorrow. Okay. So what you're starting to see is that all of these are the timekeepers. Look at these great timekeepers. Horus, the sun, is the year cycle. Mono, the moon, is the monthly cycle. And Saturn is a 30-year cycle. 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees. 12, Jupiter. Jupiter equals 12-year cycle. So you see, these are all the timekeepers. We already know who time is. It's Jupiter, 12. Saturn, 30. Sun, 1 year. Moon, 1 month. Mercury, 88 days. That's pretty close to 90, don't you reckon? What's 90? It's a quarter of a year. It's a quadrant. So Mercury, 88 days, he does 1 quarter. 88, 88, 88, 88. So we already know who the timekeepers are. You see, when you look at your clock, you've got
Don't forget, Marty had to go 88 miles an hour to go through time, remember?
So what do you got here? That's the minute clock, minute hand, yeah? So we're saying now it's 3 o'clock, yeah? Okay, so that's the minute hand. Minute is moon. That's the hour.
Horus. The sun.
Horus, the sun. And here is the seconds. That's Mercury, the fast one, the merchandiser. Okay, so here's Quicksilver, Quicksilver, seconds, quick, Mercury, communication, transportation, intellect, the mind, connecting. Mercury connects things, so he's the second, he's moving. Okay, so what you have now is, if you look at the word clock, it actually means bell. In German, Glocke. Glocke, as in Glockenspiel, to play the bells, is just bell. So we see clocks and bells, clocks and bells. Well, this is what you do. You have to learn how to put 24 hours inside of the sine wave. And this is how I do it. So you get a sine wave, as I've always done in all my presentations.
How many times have you drawn this, Santos?
Look, you know what? Millions of times. There must be... I've sat down with people in cafes, in restaurants, at their homes, in my home, pulled out a sheet of paper, done the sine wave, filled it up with all sorts of stuff, handed it to them, gone. Those have gone all around the globe. When I used to be a street performer as a professional musician, that gave me a lot of opportunities to talk to people from all over the world. Come to Melbourne, listen to some music. I would do this for them, send them off. There must be millions all around the world. And of course, in my presentations, this is the only way to understand all things. Everything is on the sine wave. So if you can do a sine wave like this, what you've got is you can always start everything here at the plane of inertia. That's the plane of inertia. And you can have your torus field going like this. So what you've got is really you just got loops. Okay? And this is what Helios, the sun, is doing with the helix. The double helix. The bull, the two bulls, you see, that's you really got to think bull, the bull, because the bull is always the bull. See, if you consider this as a torus, along the sine wave, let's make the sine wave clear. Let's start from here, and this is going to be our sine wave. We're just going to concentrate on one length of energy, okay? Whether we go back like this, we can go back around. I've done it like this, or you can do it like this. It doesn't matter. Circular or linear. It doesn't matter. It all works the same. So what you have here is the first 30 degrees of every circle belongs to Aries, A. The second one belongs to Taurus, T. Then Gemini, G. Then Cancer, C. Adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. Okay? Just to get you started. This is the double helix. The bull, the two bulls. You see, Taurus is always here. Aries is always here. The letter T, A is 1. The letter T is 2. 2. Due is 2 in Latin. Due. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So your Bible. So whether you go with the Tauruses or the bulls, it doesn't matter, because bull, the bovine, here is the bovine, here is the ovine. Bo is for both. By bull, the two bulls, the two tablets of Moses of the 10 Commandments. So one.
Right there, Santos, we use ATGC to map our DNA in our body now, don't we? Adenine, thymine, guaramine, I forgot what they were called, but ATGC is what we map. Now, you've drawn a double helix right there, right across your board. That is DNA right across your board there. So we have ATGC, just like how we map out the DNA code. Amazing.
Yeah, well, see, all is atum. And so if you realize that T and D are interchangeable and M and N are interchangeable and all the vowels, then you understand that that word is atum, because T and D are interchangeable and M and N are interchangeable. So the lost tribe of Dan in the Bible is the lost tribe of the people the spirits who ate the apple and materialized. So you and I, we are all Eve. We all ate this apple. We all have apples Tauruses, to prove that we ate the apple. And so we are sick now, like Sleeping Beauty and Eve, when she ate the fruit, she got sick, and then she had to wait for redemption. Well, see, DNA is an anagram for Dan, is an anagram for and, which is andros, which is the man who has the hand. Andros means man. Androgynous.
Right.
But in English, we have Andrew. What does Andrew mean? Manly. So, handy Andy, the man Andrew, Dan, Adan, is the man who is defined by his hand, his 10 fingers, his 10 Sephiroth, and his communicating device that God has given him, the hand, the mano.
We were talking about this last week, me and Aquarius, manifestation. The hand, the man, the five. What do you have to say on the use of the pentagram in certain satanic cultures? It seems like they're trying to manifest something with what they're doing, Santos, aren't they? They're manifesting something with the five. It seems to go right hand in hand here.
Yeah, well, see, that's what the hand is. The hand is how you can create and produce through the hand. And so that's why it's called manu, manipulate, maneuver, manifest, manufacture, manacles, tie you up. As you said, manifest, manage. All of these words to make come from the hand. Okay, so when you look at Adan is Spanish for Adam. Okay, Adan. But in Japanese, dansei, as in sensei, that's man in Japanese. So not only is it working in, there's only one language, and it's atomic, and it gets called Japanese, gets called Hebrew, Sanskrit, Prakrit, Greek, Egyptian, English. It's all atomic. I've proven that beyond any doubt. There's no one in the world ever has to doubt ever again that we've only got one language. All is atum. This is why we study etymology, yeah? Words. That's etymology. All is atum. Okay? Time. Tomorrow. Your body. Anna. Tommy. Tommy is everywhere. Time. Tomb. Tomb. Why the silent B? Because it's alluding to womb.
Mm-hmm.
The tomb of the womb. That's why a grave always looks like the womb of a woman, because you come from the soma, and you end up in the sema, as Plato said it. Soma is body, yeah, and sema is the tomb. So it rhymes in Greek, it rhymes in Italian, it rhymes in English. Because why? Because there's only one language. It's atomic. And so when you look at the letter T and the letter B, Tor and Bull, the B is the number 2. The T is also the number 2. Well, lo and behold, the word 2 starts with a T. But in Italian, it starts with a D, because T and D are interchangeable. Well, D is the 4th letter. And in English, as I said, it's the 20th,
Mm-hmm.
which reduces down to a 2. But in Hebrew, it's the 22nd. 2 plus 2 is 4. So you're always going back to this 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 2, 4. Everything's 2 and 4 because they are, remember Adam and Eve, odd and even numbers. Well, even numbers are feminine and they divide. 2 is a divider, 4 is a divider. It's also a multiplier on the positive side. But on the negative side, even numbers divide. Therefore, they are divisive. Masculine numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, you can't split them down the middle. They are unifying. This is why Eve is evil. Eve, because of the numbers, even numbers, they are divisive. Okay, so what we're looking at is how energy comes from nowhere, apparently, 0 point, counterspatial points which have no logos, no locus, no topos, no topography. So there's no Cartesian coordinate for this point. You can't get a magnet here and its field is all around here, and then you move it over to here and you say, wait a minute, the address, the locus, the location of the magnet, 0 point, has moved from here to here, a foot away. Well, where is the true locus? There is none, because magnetism is omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. So you can't find God, magnetism, in any one space, because God's unconditioned conscious energy called magnetism is everywhere.
It seems like magnetism and electricity have to work hand in hand. Like, I'm starting to look at it as magnetism is the head of the drum, where electricity is that which strikes the drum. It's just two things, the magnetic wave and the thing that happens within that magnetic wave.
Yeah, I would simplify it even more and just say that magnetism is a longitudinal wave and electricity is bipolar. Bipole. Bipolar. And so electricity does, that's magnetism, the standing wave. This is electrical. The serpent in the garden who seduced Eve. See, Eve was always like this. There was unity in the garden. There was oneness. There was direct contact with God, because this is a direct energy. When you start eating apples, these apples, then you start doing this. Now you've gone off the longitudinal wave. Now you've been distracted. You're going up here to the Tropic of Cancer and down here to the Tropic of Capricorn. And so you're going up to summer, down through the scales of Libra, down to Capricorn, down to hell, Infer, and then you go back up again, and you're going up and down, up and down, up and down. This is the principle of rhythm and polarity and correspondence, the Hermetic principles. So electricity, the bull, Baal, that's another way of saying the bull, Baal, the false god, it is this vibration, this temporospatial dilated bubble. Bubble. That's just like saying Bible. Bible, bubble, two bulls. Everything is in two bulls. Nature is always presenting itself as two bulls. Bibles, bubbles, turbulence, Taurus bull, terrible, Taurus bull, energy.
Now, do you think they have thoroughly trapped us in the world of dualism using the naturally occurring dualistic qualities that we see all around us? I think they've kind of hoodwinked us into thinking a dualistic system works because we see dualism around us in our environment. I think that's why they put us into the right-left paradigm, because it works so well with us, because we think, hey, it's in nature, it occurs naturally, it's probably a good system to use. But I don't think dualism in regards to a government is not the best thing. It's a overshadowing of fascism, really.
Yeah, materialist dualism is nasty. Spiritual dualism, that's duality in unity, as Pythagoras called it. Unity in duality, or duality in unity. So we live in a duality in unity world, whereas the materialists, there's no unity. None at all. Everything is dual. Everything starts from two. There's no unity. They talk about it. Oh, let's get together. United we stand. Let's form a church. Let's have an organization, a foundation. We'll do so many good things. All of their energies are chasing after the wind. Why? Because they are materialists. Everything the materialist does will be gathered up for the spiritualist in the last day. That's what the scriptures teach. You see the wicked ones building castles and mansions and palaces and bank accounts. All of that will be given over to the humble ones. Humble.
Right. Now, this is a perfect crossover right here. Just to round out the show, I don't want to wear you out too much, Santos, but this is a great crossover, because the materialist, what you've written on the board, what you have on the board right behind you, I would call that a philosopher's stone. Okay. The materialists, the ones who want you to go searching for a historical Jesus, are the same ones who want to tell you that the philosopher's stone is a stone that will magically give you knowledge. However, I think a philosopher's stone is something like Santos has drawn on the board, something that is unchanging, just like a stone, a chart, a map, something you can pull from that is unchanging. So, Santos, we thank you for that philosophical stone you've written for us behind you.
Yeah, this is the true stone because it's spiritual, it's transcendental. It transcends nature, but it also partakes in the laws of nature, because these are the spiritual laws which govern nature. Without these laws, this is how God, energy, manifests. Green, 12. Photosynthesis. Green, the green ray of light, is the only one that can absorb pulses of photons. They're not particles. 12 is where chlorophyll photosynthesis occurs. 12 is the lifeblood of our plane. This is the color, green, energy, energy, greeny, greeny, energy, same word. So what we're doing is we're learning how this green light of 12 makes the beautiful world of chlorophyll. And we're learning how conscious energy manifests in the world, transcendentally.
Well, the way you make it sound, Santos, it sounds like this plane is kind of a good place to be. I'm not sure if I want to leave this beautiful green plane.
Well, we're here now. That's the thing. For those who say, oh, I want to get out of here quickly, I want to go back home, and I hate this place, and what have you, that's just bitterness from the individual not knowing their true purpose and carrying out their true purpose. Ones who are on the path, like us, who are carrying out our true purpose of finding truth, Toruth, we are the ones who don't think like that. We just go through this plane in our vehicles, which is these dying bodies that we have, and then we transmute, go to another plane, and we just breathe through this. We learn truthfully. We don't get sucked in by upside down pseudoscience. We're all standing the right way up. We know who we are and where we are. And so we are being directed back to cause, back to source, back to Vrindavan, our true home.
Now, Aquarius, does that bring up anything to mind before we round out the show? Anything you wanted to touch on real quick?
I can, but that just started another 2-hour conversation. I mean, Santos, I mean, everything he said is just, I mean, amazing, and I can't wait to go rewatch this again to take some notes, because it's been
folks, look back on the years and years of Santos's work, and look back at how everything he said today is direct mirror image of what he was saying years ago. So it's the proof is in the pudding, folks. If this is the first time you saw Santos, proof's in the pudding. Go back in time and check out the things he's done before. But I mean, Santos, that was an amazing presentation, and I really liked how it was very different than all the other presentations I've seen you. Now, we have been getting into trouble recently about how to perform gematria and going through these rabbit holes of different numerologies, different number systems. I want to, if you're up to it, I want to bring you back sometime later and go through the numbers 1 through 6 and talk about each number in its entirety and try to characterize and try to put personalities on these numbers, because gematria is running and we can't run until we can walk, and that is numerology to me. So if you're up for it, if you want to come back some other time, we will really go into each number and really characterize those things. What do you say?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime I'll be back.
Oh, and then also one thing that I do want to talk for the audience and also for Santos is Rahu and Ketu, the two discs of the moon. I know this is a whole, that's why I said I don't really want to talk about it, because this is a whole other 2-hour conversation. But Bruce Sanchez's TV on YouTube, he did some pretty nice stuff on Ketu and Rahu and the moon, which I kind of want to talk to you about that. But like I said, that's another 2-hour conversation, and but maybe we'll continue that some other time. But real quick thoughts on Bro Sanchez's stuff.
Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of Bro Sanchez, and he's a true truther. He's on the path, and he's one that is revealing massive amounts of exquisite information. So I would be going to that video for your listeners. We can deal with Rahu and Ketu next week. I can deal with that from an astrological point of view, teaching, you know, what it actually means. I can also deal with that from a flat earth, true perspective of how Rahu and Ketu are forming, causing the eclipses and everything like that. We can deal with that next one for sure.
Yeah, because we got a big eclipse coming up here in the northern hemisphere here in North America, which I'm planning on going to see here in August. And it's, I don't know, there's a lot of thoughts on the whole eclipse thing. So yeah, we can tie all that in. It's been a blessing having you share your wisdom and knowledge, as always, Santos. Love and gratitude, and ho'oponopono. Much
yes, Santos, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence here. I just a couple shout outs. We got Ian Cox, we got Felix in the chat, we got Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole in chat watching us, we got Synthetic Dread, and all the friends of the Caveman watching. Once again, Santos, thank you so much for this presentation. We learned so much about the red shift, blue shift, toroidal field we're in, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, have a great day, Santos. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you. You too.
Many blessings.
Peace, brother.